my YouTube friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Kelly. I am going to give you my tips for making this layer chops free pattern from Jordan Fabrics because I've discovered a few things that if you decide to do it, it might help you. I'm having fun with it, so chances are I'll likely do it again in the future. It is most definitely important to do as the pattern says and cut your accent strips across the length of fabric. That way you have a nice straight edge that isn't going to stretch, because when you go diagonally across the squares you will have a bias edge. This will save your life. My blocks would be horrid if I didn't do this. Now, Donna Jordan cuts her blocks, I think her accent strips like 15 inches or something. I cut mine to 14. I thought that was good enough for me, but because I'm kind of anal about things, I'm actually measuring half. So I just line up one of the lines on my ruler. I put 7 down here on the bottom. I make sure that it's straight on the back of the strip, like so. There's my pen. And I have one of these pens that the marks go away with heat. Friction pens, I believe they're called. And I just do that and make a line across. It's hard to see, but it's easy enough to see when you're putting the right sides together. I'll show you that in a second. I'm making all the blocks that have the accent strips going across the first one. I did all the other ones previously. So I've just put my ruler at a random spot like I did for all the other ones and going across like that. This blue fabric's kind of dark, so I'm going to mark my little marks with the chalk pen. So my cut line is like that, okay? So we line it back up and judge kind of in the middle, like not on your accent strip, but you know, nearby sort of. So hold it together and I just go like this and do like a little mark there and a little mark there, just so you can see where they are, and line them up either side of the cut line. I'll scoot that one out of the way, and I'm going to sew this one first. So now I have a line, and I take the line where my green is, line the green mark up on that little white mark, and line the whole strip up along the edge, this bias diagonal edge, carefully. Don't wiggle the bias edge around. I like to pin it just to make sure nothing shuggles around. So double check my lining up. Perfect. Pin it. Smooth that down and double check this lining up. Shift it a wee bit. There we go. Gently. Pin that there. And we'll check this end. Right there. Perfect. So, I have a straight line to sew on. I have it marked correctly, and I have enough on either edge that it's not going to be a problem. For getting the strips in, follow the tutorial at Jordan Fabrics about marking either side of your fabric. Like put it together and just put a mark there and a mark there. And then you can line up the mark on your strip to the mark on your fabric. What I have found for putting the second strip in, to make sure that this doesn't go all wonky and be way over here or something, is I do actually line up the line, because I sewed it here correct, so it should be here correct. But what I also do, just in case. Okay, so that's got to go like that. And this gets sewn onto here. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera. So flip this over. And on here is a little tiny white line in chalk. So I line that up with the line in green on the strip. And I just kind of line it up and line the edges up and like hold it together. Like so. And I sort of guide the strip in here, but I don't like pin it or anything. All I'm really concerned about right now is this join area. So something like that. Okay, the important part is these two lined up and the edge is matching. I have to scoot this back a smidgen because it's shifted on me. And then what I do is from about here to about there is I run a basting stitch. And then I open it up and look at it. And I try to get within 1/8 of an inch. If it's pretty close like that, that's fine. But sometimes all I need to do is shift, like pick out the basting stitch and shift just a teeny bit this way or a teeny bit this way. Then I baste again and check it. And if it looks great, then I line everything up, pin, sew it for real, carry on. And it works out pretty good most of the time. That's just something I've figured out from doing this myself. There's nothing on the tutorial, nothing on the pattern about doing this basting thing. Just my idea. About half of the blocks are like this, where the accent strips do not intersect. Now, I'm not the greatest of sewers, but as I was going along, my blocks were getting more and more accurate. However, the first few I did were maybe not so good. So I am forced to square them up to 9 3/4 inches, just to make sure that they're all the same. Because some of them I could have done them at 9 7/8, but this one in particular was like, bleh. Like, oh, okay, well, I guess that one's going to be 9 3/4. So that's what I'm going with. And if I find any of them that are even worse than this one, well, I guess we'll go down another 1/8 of an inch and go from there. Anyway, if you follow what the pattern says, their patterns are great. Just do what they do. Follow Donna's video for this. Again, it's called Layer Chops. Just look it up. Pretty simple to follow, but make sure that you do your tips like I do, maybe, if you think that is helpful. Now, also, I didn't use a layer cake, so my blocks are not varied enough, and I found it easier in this instance to make one block at a time, just because I can tell what goes with what better, because I did mess up 2 blocks by sewing the wrong things together. So there's a little pitfall if you're going to use yardage and cut it up. But if you have a layer cake, there's probably enough variation that you can maybe do 2 or 3 blocks at a time, because then you can see it better. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. Thanks for watching, gang. Bye-bye.